The calculated response. The vast emptiness of space stretched before the ECV calculated response as it maintained position at the edge of the Arcturus system. Captain Elara Hayes stood with perfect posture on the command deck, her dark eyes fixed on the main viewscreen that displayed the approaching fleet of alien vessels. Their angular, crystalline forms glinted in the light of the distant sun like polished obsidian. Tactical analysis complete, Captain. Lieutenant Commander Jackson reported from his station, his voice measured but tense. 7 Valkyrie warships, Nomad class according to our intelligence. Weapons signatures indicate energy-based offensive systems far beyond our current capabilities. Hayes nodded without taking her eyes off the screen. Humanity had only achieved faster-than-light travel 15 years ago, and in that time, they'd learned that the galaxy was far from empty and far from welcoming. The Valkyrie Dominion controlled 12 star systems and had a reputation for civilizing what they deemed lesser species through forced integration or subjugation. Communications, are they responding to our hails? Hayes asked. Yes, Captain. They're establishing connection now, responded Communications Officer Priya Sharma, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Audio and visual incoming. The view screen shifted to show a Valkyrie commander. The alien's violet skin was lined with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed with obvious agitation. 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern across a face that was almost but not quite humanoid, blinked in sequence. This is High Commander Zyvex of the Valkyrie Dominion expansion fleet. The alien spoke, the words translated through the ship's language matrix. You have entered territory claimed by the Dominion. Identify yourselves immediately. Hayes stepped forward. I am Captain Elara Hayes of the Earth Collaborative Vessel, calculated response. We are conducting a peaceful exploration mission, and were unaware this system was claimed. Our records indicated it was unclaimed space. The Valkyrie commander's secondary eyes narrowed. Your records are irrelevant. The Dominion has declared its interest in this sector. As representatives of an unaligned species, you will submit to boarding and inspection. Your technology will be evaluated to determine your civilization's appropriate status within the Dominion hierarchy. The bridge crew exchanged glances. This was exactly the scenario Earth Command had warned about and prepared for. With respect, Commander Zyvex, we cannot allow boarding of our vessel. Earth is a sovereign entity and not subject to Dominion authority. We are willing to withdraw from this system peacefully if you claim it. Commander Zyvex's bioluminescent patterns flashed rapidly, the equivalent of an indignant scoff. Perhaps you misunderstand your situation, Captain. This is not a negotiation. The Valkyrie Dominion has encountered 17 spacefaring species. All now serve within our collective. Your species' technological development is clearly rudimentary. Your vessel lacks even basic gravity manipulation fields and relies on primitive rotation for artificial gravity. Hayes maintained her composure. We have different technological priorities, Commander, not inferior ones. Irrelevant. You will prepare for boarding, or we will disable your vessel and conduct the inspection by force. You have 10 minutes to comply. The communication cut off abruptly. Well, that went exactly as expected, Hayes said, turning to face her crew. Status report. The ship's tactical officer, Lieutenant Wai Chen, spoke up. They've deployed in standard Valkyrie engagement formation. Their weapons are powered but not targeted. They're confident we don't pose a threat. And they'd be right, if we were playing by their rules, Hayes replied. Dr. Okafor, are the RASER systems operational? Chief Science Officer Nnamdi Okafor looked up from his station with a tight smile. All 4 arrays are charged and ready, Captain. Quantum entanglement communication is stable. Earth Command confirms the network is active. Hayes nodded. The resonance amplification by stimulated emission of radiation system, RASER for short, was humanity's answer to their technological disadvantage. Unable to match the energy weapons or shielding technology of established galactic powers, Earth's scientists had taken a different approach. Lieutenant Sharma, Re-establish communication with the Valkyrie. The view screen flickered back to life, showing Commander Zivex's imperious face. "I trust you've made the wise decision, Captain," the Valkyrie said. "I've made a decision, Commander, but you may not find it to your liking," Hayes replied calmly. "The Earth Collaborative does not recognize your authority to board our vessel or claim this system, which lies outside established Dominion borders according to Galactic records." The Valkyrie commander's patterns flashed in what the ship's AI translated as a mixture of surprise and annoyance. "Then you choose conflict. Your single vessel against our fleet. This is illogical even for a primitive species." "That's where you're mistaken, Commander," Hayes said, gesturing to Dr. Okafor, who transmitted data to the Valkyrie ship. "The calculated response isn't a warship. It's a node in a network." On the Valkyrie commander's screen, a schematic appeared showing the RASER system, a series of quantum-entangled nodes placed strategically throughout human space and beyond. "This vessel carries 4 RASER arrays," Hayes continued. "Each is capable of instantaneously coordinating with similar arrays across vast distances through quantum entanglement. When activated, they create a resonance wave that can disrupt any system operating on similar frequencies, like your shields and weapons." Commander Zivex's patterns now pulsed rapidly. "Impossible. Such technology would require a different approach to physics." Hayes finished for him. "As I said, Commander, not inferior technology, different priorities. Humans couldn't match your energy capabilities, so we developed alternatives. The RASER network doesn't need to overcome your shields through brute force. It simply makes them irrelevant by creating destructive interference patterns in your energy systems." As if to demonstrate, Dr. Okafor activated a localized pulse that momentarily caused the lights on the Valkyrie bridge to flicker. "That was at 5% capacity," Hayes said calmly. "At full power, every system on your ships would fail simultaneously. Your life support would remain functional, but little else." For the first time, uncertainty registered in the Valkyrie commander's expression. "You threaten the Dominion. No species has dared." "Not a threat, Commander. An introduction. Humanity has no interest in conflict with the Valkyrie or any other species, but we will not be subjugated or evaluated for hierarchy placement. We're offering peaceful coexistence as equals." A long silence stretched between them as Zivex processed this information. The command staff could almost see the calculations happening behind those 4 alien eyes, weighing the risk that the humans were bluffing against the possibility that they truly had developed such a countermeasure. "You understand," Zivex finally said, "that I must report this technology to the Dominion Council." "We expect nothing less," Hayes replied. "In fact, we hope you'll convey our invitation for formal diplomatic relations. Earth would welcome peaceful exchange with the Valkyrie Dominion." Another pause, shorter this time. "Your invitation will be conveyed. This system's status will remain undetermined pending diplomatic discussions." The Valkyrie's patterns dimmed slightly. "A concession. The Dominion withdraws its demand for inspection. For now." "Thank you, Commander. We look forward to future dialogue under more amenable circumstances." After the communication ended, the bridge remained silent for a moment before Executive Officer Marcus Rodriguez let out a long breath. "They bought it. The bluff worked." Hayes turned to him with a slight smile. "Who said it was a bluff, XO?" Dr. Okafor chuckled. "The RASER system does exactly what we claimed, though perhaps not quite at the effectiveness I implied in that demonstration." "How effective is it really?" asked Lieutenant Chen. "Against their current configurations, it would disrupt their systems for approximately 3 minutes before they could adapt," Dr. Okafor replied. "But they don't know that. And by the time they figure it out, we'll have improved it," Hayes finished. "That's the human advantage after all. We adapt quickly." She turned back to the view screen, where the Valkyrie ships were already beginning to withdraw from their aggressive posture. "Set course back to the jump point, Lieutenant Rodriguez. I think Earth Command will be very interested in our report." As the calculated response prepared to depart, Hayes couldn't help but feel a mixture of pride and concern. They had avoided conflict today, but the galaxy had just become aware of humanity's presence in a significant way. The Valkyrie wouldn't underestimate humans again, and neither would any other species once word spread. Humanity's first major interstellar confrontation had ended peacefully, but Hayes knew it was only the beginning. The true test would come in what followed, the human element. 3 months after the first encounter between the Earth collaborative vessel Calculated Response and the Valkyrie Dominion, High Commander Zyvex stood before the Dominion Strategic Council in the crystalline chambers of the capital ship Eternal Radiance. The 7 elder Valkyrie who comprised the council stared down at him with their primary eyes focused and secondary eyes scanning various data feeds. Your assessment of the human technological capability seems inconsistent with their development timeline, Elder Nexus said, her luminescent patterns displaying skepticism. No species advances from primitive chemical propulsion to quantum entanglement manipulation in mere decades. Zivex's patterns flashed with certainty. I observed their technology firsthand, Elder. While crude in execution, their RASER system functions as claimed. Our science division has confirmed the theoretical basis. Yet you did not verify through direct examination, another counselor noted, accusation evident in his tone. The risk outweighed potential intelligence gain, Zyvex responded firmly. If their claims were accurate, and our preliminary tests suggest they were, challenging them could have disabled our entire fleet. Instead, I chose to gather information and withdraw strategically. Elder Nexus leaned forward. And what information did you gather about these humans, Commander? They are unusual, Zyvex admitted. Their approach to technological development defies standard evolutionary patterns. Rather than advancing linearly through established technological milestones, they appear to develop solutions based on immediate needs, often bypassing entire stages of what we consider normal development. The council chamber fell silent as the elders processed this information. Finally, Elder Nexus spoke again. You recommend diplomatic engagement rather than assimilation. I do, Zyvex confirmed. At least until we better understand their capabilities and weaknesses. They present an anomaly worth studying before attempting integration. As the council deliberated, Zyvex reflected on his encounter with Captain Hayes. Something about the humans had unsettled him. Not their technology, but their adaptability. The Valkyrie had conquered through technological superiority for millennia. They had never encountered a species that simply sidestepped the established rules of engagement. Meanwhile, aboard the newly commissioned Earth diplomatic vessel Unity, Captain Hayes reviewed the latest intelligence reports with Ambassador Chen Wei, a veteran diplomat who had been assigned to the first official contact mission with the Valkyrie Dominion. Our intel suggests they've been analyzing the RASER demonstration extensively, Hayes said, scrolling through the datapad. They're taking us seriously, which is exactly what we wanted. Ambassador Chen nodded thoughtfully. The Valkyrie respect power. By demonstrating a technological advantage, even if somewhat exaggerated, you've earned us a seat at the table rather than a place in their hierarchy. Before Hayes could respond, an alarm blared through the ship. Lieutenant Sharma's voice came over the comm system. Captain, we're detecting a massive energy surge from the nearby star. Some kind of solar flare activity, but the readings are off the charts. Hayes and Chen rushed to the bridge, where the tactical display showed a catastrophic stellar event developing. The star they were orbiting, chosen as neutral territory for the diplomatic meeting, was experiencing unprecedented activity. Analysis, Hayes demanded as she took her command position. Dr. Okafor was already working at his station. It's not natural, Captain. The plasma ejection patterns are too precise. Someone is manipulating the star's magnetic field. The Valkyrie? Chen asked. Unlikely, Dr. Okafor replied. This technology doesn't match their known capabilities. Besides, their diplomatic vessel is in as much danger as we are. As if to confirm his assessment, the communications officer reported, "Captain, we're receiving a distress signal from the Valkyrie ship Solemn Doctrine. Their engines are offline, and they're inside the projected path of the solar flare." Hayes didn't hesitate. "Set intercept course. Notify them of our approach and intention to assist." Ambassador Chen looked concerned. "Captain, the Unity isn't designed for rescue operations, and our own shielding may not withstand a direct flare impact. We can't leave them to die, Ambassador." Besides, Hayes added with a slight smile, "This is how humans make friends." Aboard the Solemn Doctrine, Commander Zavex fought to maintain order as systems failed across his vessel. The unexplained stellar phenomenon had somehow bypassed their advanced warning systems and struck with precise effectiveness. Life support was failing, and their propulsion systems were completely offline. "Damage control teams to decks 4 through 7, he ordered. "Redirect power from weapon systems to maintain life support integrity." His second-in-command, Subcommander Talix, approached with obvious concern in her pattern fluctuations. "Commander, the human vessel is approaching our position. They're hailing us." Zyvex felt a complex mixture of emotions: surprise, suspicion, and reluctant hope. On screen, Captain Hayes appeared, her bridge showing signs of emergency activity behind her. "Commander Zyvex, we've detected your situation and are moving to assist. Please transmit your ship's structural specifications so we can coordinate rescue efforts." Suspicion flared in Zavex's mind. "This stellar event, did your people cause it?" Hayes looked genuinely surprised. "No, Commander. We believe this is the work of a third party, possibly trying to disrupt our diplomatic meeting. But right now, that's secondary to ensuring your crew's survival." Zyvex hesitated only briefly before practicality won out. "Transmitting specifications now. Our primary reactor is approaching critical failure. We have approximately 20 minutes before containment loss." Hayes nodded grimly. "Understood. We'll be alongside in 5 minutes. Prepare your crew for potential evacuation." As the communication ended, Subcommander Talix's patterns showed clear disapproval. "Commander, sharing our vessel's specifications with an unaligned species is preferable to certain death." Zyvex cut her off. "Besides, I suspect we may learn more about humans from how they attempt to save us than we would through standard intelligence gathering." When the Unity reached the stricken Valkyrie vessel, the situation had deteriorated further. The approaching solar flare was now visible as a massive wall of plasma rushing toward both ships, and the Solemn Doctrine's reactor containment was failing faster than predicted. On the Unity's bridge, Dr. Okafor presented his analysis. "Standard rescue protocols won't work, Captain. We can't evacuate their crew in time, and our tractor systems aren't powerful enough to move their vessel clear of the flare path." Hayes processed this information quickly. "What about the RASER system? Could we adapt it somehow?" Dr. Okafor looked thoughtful. "Not to move the ship, but possibly to stabilize their reactor. If we reconfigure the arrays to match the frequency of their containment field." "Do it," Hayes ordered, then turned to communications. "Lieutenant Sharma, inform Commander Zyvex we need direct access to their reactor control systems." The request was met with understandable resistance from the Valkyrie, but as their situation grew more desperate, Zyvex ultimately granted access. Within minutes, Dr. Okafor had established a quantum link between the Unity's RASER arrays and the Valkyrie ship's systems. "It's working," he reported. "We're reinforcing their containment field, but we still need to move both ships out of the flare's path." Hayes turned to Navigation Officer Lieutenant Kazemi. "What if we use the star's own energy against it? Could we create a solar sail effect?" The young officer's eyes widened at the unconventional suggestion. "Theoretically, yes. If we extend our magnetospheric shields between both vessels and angle them properly, the plasma impact could actually push us clear, assuming the shields hold long enough." "Make it happen," Hayes ordered. "And someone get Commander Zyvex on the line. I need his engineers working with ours." What followed was an unprecedented collaboration between human and Valkyrie crews. Despite language barriers and technological differences, they worked together to implement Hayes' desperate plan. The Unity extended its shields to envelop both vessels, angling them to create what was essentially an enormous solar sail. When the flare hit, the combined shield configuration held just long enough to harness the immense energy, propelling both ships clear of the danger zone before failing completely. Emergency systems kicked in immediately afterward, preventing catastrophic damage to either vessel. Hours later, as damage control teams from both ships worked together to restore critical systems, Commander Zyvex requested a personal meeting with Captain Hayes aboard the Unity. "Your solution was unorthodox," the Valkyrie commander stated as they walked through the corridor toward engineering. His patterns displayed what the translation matrix identified as reluctant admiration. "Humans tend to excel at unorthodox solutions," Hayes replied with a slight smile. "It's a trait born from our history. For most of our development, we were technologically outmatched by our own challenges: disease, climate, limited resources. We had to innovate or perish." They reached engineering, where Dr. Okafor was working alongside a Valkyrie engineer, their discussion animated despite translation difficulties. "Your RASER technology," Zyvex observed. "It's not primarily a weapon at all, is it?" Hayes shook her head. "It was developed as a communication system initially. The defensive applications were a fortunate side effect that we emphasized during our first meeting. A bit of human psychology applied to interspecies relations." Zevex's patterns shifted to what might have been amusement. "You bluffed." "We presented the information most likely to ensure peaceful relations," Hayes corrected diplomatically. "And it worked." "Indeed." The commander was quiet for a moment, watching their crews work together. "Our preliminary investigation suggests the stellar event was triggered by automated technology belonging to the Krell Ascendancy. They are known for eliminating potential competition before it emerges." "They targeted our diplomatic meeting specifically?" Hayes asked, concerned. "It appears so. The Krell prefer a divided galaxy. Alliances between spacefaring species threaten their dominance." Zyvex turned his 4 eyes toward Hayes. "They clearly consider the potential relationship between humans and Valkyrie worth preventing." "Then perhaps we should give them more to worry about," Hayes suggested. "I believe today demonstrated that our peoples can achieve remarkable results when working together." 1 month later, the Galactic Council received an unprecedented joint petition for membership from the Earth Collaborative and the Valkyrie Dominion. Accompanying the petition was a technical paper detailing a new hybrid shield technology that combined Valkyrie energy manipulation with human quantum entanglement principles, a technology that theoretically surpassed anything currently in use throughout known space. In chambers across the galaxy, species that had dominated interstellar politics for millennia found themselves discussing the same question. What would happen now that humans had entered the galactic stage, not as conquerable primitives, but as innovators with powerful allies? As news spread of how a single human vessel had turned a potential adversary into a partner through both ingenuity and compassion, other races began to reconsider their approach to the newcomers from Earth, some with fear, others with hope, but all with the growing recognition that humanity represented something different in the galactic community. The humans didn't follow the established paths of technological development. They didn't conquer through superior firepower or economic pressure. Instead, they adapted, innovated, and most surprisingly, cooperated. In his private chambers aboard the Eternal Radiance, Elder Nexus reviewed Commander Zivex's final report on the humans. One passage in particular caught her attention. "The true power of humans lies not in their technology, but in their approach to problems. They do not accept limitations as fixed constants. Where other species see insurmountable obstacles, humans see challenges to overcome through whatever means necessary. Their history of isolation on a single world has fostered a resilience and creativity that may prove to be their greatest asset in the wider galaxy." Recommendation: full diplomatic integration with human systems, and prioritized cultural exchange programs. The Valkyrie Dominion stands to gain more from human innovation than human subjugation. They call it thinking outside the box. I believe we would benefit from learning this skill. Elder Nexus closed the report and gazed out at the stars. For the first time in 7 centuries of life, she felt something unexpected: anticipation for an uncertain future. The galaxy was changing, and at the center of that change was a species that had gone from planetary confinement to reshaping interstellar politics in less than a century. What would they do next?